All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're basically business detectives on a mission to solve a classic mystery. You know the one. A company sets a big profit goal, but by the end of the year, the actual number isn't even close. It happens all the time. And the clues? Well, they're all hiding in plain sight, right in the numbers. We're going to follow the trail and crack this case together. And here it is, our case file, Osaka Manufacturing Company. Look at this. They budgeted for a profit of more than 5 lakh rupees. Pretty good, right? But what actually happened? They only brought in about 2,88,000. That is a massive gap of over 230,000 rupees. So the big question, the one we're here to answer, is what on earth happened? Where did all that money go? Okay, so here's our game plan for this investigation. First, we'll dive into the mystery itself. Then, we'll look at the big picture, the market stuff that's kind of out of the company's control. After that, we're going inside, looking at their own decisions on prices and costs. Then comes the big reveal, the final reconciliation where we put it all together. We'll talk about what it all means. And hey, stick around till the end, because I've got a formula flashcard for you to keep these tools handy. All right, Section 1. Let's officially open the case file on Osaka Manufacturing and start digging. So first up, we've got to separate what the company thought was going to happen from what actually went down. We'll start with those external factors, the things happening out in the market. These are what we call planning variances, because they really test how good the company's crystal ball was. Let's find our first clue. Let's talk market size variance. The easiest way to think about this is with a pizza shop analogy. Imagine you own a pizza shop. This variance answers one simple question. Did our whole town just decide to eat less pizza this year? See, it has nothing to do with your pizza recipe or your service. It's about the total demand in the market. That's why it's a planning variance. It checks how well you predicted the market's overall appetite. So how do we put a number on that? Well, we use this formula right here. We start with the company's budgeted market share. They expected to own 50% of the market. Then we multiply that by the drop in the overall market size. They planned for a market of 400,000 units, but it turned out to be only 375,000. And finally, we multiply all of that by their budgeted contribution per unit, which was 4 rupees and 17 paise, to see the total profit damage. So let's run the numbers. And there we go, our very first piece of evidence. A negative hit of over 52,000 rupees. This is a huge discovery. This profit was lost simply because the entire market was smaller than they predicted. Their forecast was just too optimistic, and it cost them big time, right from the get-go. But a shrinking market is only part of the story, right? Let's go back to our pizza shop. Even if the town wanted less pizza overall, did we still get our fair share? Or did our customers start going to that new place across the street? That's the market share variance. And this one's different. This is an operational variance. It measures how well the company actually performed against its rivals. Now, the formula here is super important. We look at the change in market share. They planned for 50%, but only got 44%. That's a 6% drop. We multiply that by the actual market size of 375,000 units, because we need to know the impact of losing share in the market that really existed. And again, we multiply by that budgeted profit per unit of 4.117 rupees to see the financial hit. Wow. Now, that is the smoking gun of this investigation so far. A loss of almost 94,000 rupees. This is the single biggest driver of their profit problem, and it points directly to an issue inside the company. They lost ground to their competitors, which tells me there might be problems with their sales, their marketing, maybe even the product itself. Okay, so we've looked at the market. Now let's turn the spotlight inward. Let's investigate the decisions that the company itself made. How did they handle their prices? What about their costs? Let's find out. This slide pretty much tells the whole painful story. On the left, you see the plan. Sell each item for 10.50 and have it cost just over 6.30 to make. Simple enough. But look at the reality on the right. They sold for less and it cost them more to make. They were getting squeezed from both ends. Not a good situation. Let's do the math on this. For the price variance, we take the actual number of units sold, that's 165,000, and multiply by the price difference. That shows us exactly how much money they left on the table by discounting. Then for the variable cost variance, we use those same 165,000 units and multiply by how much they went over budget on costs for each one. This isolates the hit from production issues. So what do these numbers tell us? And here is the internal damage report. The lower price cost them nearly 40,000 rupees. The higher production costs? Another 30,000 gone. And just to rub it in, their fixed costs, like rent and salaries, were 15,000 over budget. It's so clear now, the problem wasn't just the market. Things were going wrong inside the company, on pretty much every financial front. We're almost there. The investigation is nearly complete. We've uncovered 5 key clues, 5 reasons why that profit target was missed. Now it's time for the big finale. Let's assemble all the pieces and see if we can finally solve this puzzle. And here it is, the moment of truth. We start with that budgeted profit of 519,000 rupees. Now, let's subtract our findings, one by one. Take away the loss from the shrinking market, subtract that massive hit from losing market share, take out the damage from lower prices, account for those higher variable costs, and finally, remove the fixed cost overage. And what number are we left with? 288,750 rupees. It is exactly their actual profit. To the rupee. Case closed. We have found every single missing piece of the puzzle. But, solving the mystery is just step 1. The numbers tell us what happened. The real job of a manager, the important part, is figuring out why it happened and then deciding what to do about it. So how do we turn all this analysis into actual, effective action? This quote absolutely nails it. Knowing Osaka lost almost 94,000 from market share is just a number. The real question is, why? Did a new competitor just crush it? Did their latest marketing campaign totally flop? Is something wrong with the product quality? If you don't ask these questions, the analysis is basically useless. You have to find the root cause to actually fix the problem. And let's be real, as a manager, you can't investigate everything. Your time is precious. The key is to practice what's called management by exception. You ignore the small stuff, the minor bumps in the road, and you focus all of your energy on the really significant things. You look for the big fires to put out, like that huge 94,000 rupee market share variance. That's where you need to direct your attention. All right, we have covered a ton of ground and used some really powerful tools. So to help all of this sink in and stick with you, here is a super quick recap of the key formulas we used in our investigation today. Okay, let's blast through our toolkit. Market size variance, that tells you what happened because the whole pie got smaller. Market share variance, that shows what happened because your slice of the pie changed. Price variance isolates the hit or help from your pricing. Variable cost variance measures your production efficiency. And fixed cost variance, that's a simple check on your overheads. These are the formulas you need to crack any case like this. And that brings us to our final thought, a question for you. You've seen all the evidence, you know the problems, a massive loss in market share, plus some serious internal issues with pricing and costs. So if you were in charge at Osaka Manufacturing, what's your plan for next year? What's your prescription? Because turning this analysis into a concrete plan, well, that's where the real work begins.